we need to have a definition is what we really need. Like what when somebody asks you, what are you looking at? You have to be able to say, well, I'm looking at these because we do know from the record that there's all these other things that are on stone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the definition for nub can't just be bumps on stones. This is Russia, Kronstadt, Russia.
What?
Um, yeah,
I've
second
never
now.
seen that. Can you zoom that?
Yeah,
I've
see
never
them,
heard of this in my life.
see them on the side here.
Yeah, who built that?
It's supposedly a naval fort for Russia, I guess,
And it's
but
got a bunch of nubs.
there's a bunch of them on it, and they're random. You can see they're not on every stone, right?
Yeah,
And,
which is the nub phenomenon, right?
which is yeah, and they're not in the same position on the stones that they're in. There's one, there's one
Uh-huh.
there and two
Uh-huh.
there.
Uh-huh.
Uh, this site was supposedly built over top of an old megalithic site. That's the story they say.
Oh, she said she sent that like 10 minutes ago. All right. Welcome to the multiverse, Mr. Crispin Thibodeau. Am I allowed to say that? I don't even know.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Some people don't like when I say their full name.
Yeah.
This is I've been looking forward to this. Crispin, I met early on in the days we first started our podcast. And I forgot that, like, I was looking at your page again today, and I forgot you have like almost 90K followers on there. How the hell did I have a hard time? I don't even have 1,000 yet. How the hell did that happen? Oh, by the way, he's
Well,
from the Stone-Nub Language. Is that it? The Stone-Nub Language on X?
yeah. Well, when I started Twitter, there wasn't a real good way to get a lot of followers. It was a long time ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I used to help people get followers that were looking into science and art, history, and
Mm.
things like that. You see them every once in a while. Hey, do you like this? Follow these people, kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I set up my account back then to just follow everyone that followed me. So I got quite a few followers that way.
Nice.
But I don't really care about the account. Yeah, I was using it for something else, and then I got into the nub stuff.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And then I just said, it was suspended a long time ago when they did the big Twitter purge and all the censorship stuff. So
Sure.
I got it back, and we were into the nubs. I have like 4 other accounts active right now,
Mm-hmm.
and I decided, well, I'll just turn this one into the Stone-Nub Language. A lot of the people in this community were following me already,
Already.
so
Okay.
so I just said, yeah, we'll just do this.
Got it. Got it. And you're a fellow. Would you be considered a maritimer? Maritime
Yes,
Canada? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Because you live in New Brunswick, Canada, and which is next door neighbor to where your host Dave of Mike and Dave's Multiverse grew up in Nova Scotia. So sometime in the 80s and 90s, before the internet, Crispin and I were like growing up. I think you're maybe about, maybe I was in middle school when you were in high school or something like that. I can't
I'm
quite.
in I'm in the 50s, so
You're in your 50s. I'm in my mid 40s.
yeah,
So yeah, so at some point in the during the multiverse, we were living very close. I'd only been I was a poor kid though in Nova Scotia, and I never really got out much. So I'd only went to New Brunswick once for a basketball tournament. No, I went for a baseball tournament once too. But I only ever to Saint. I always screw this up. Is it John or John's?
St. John?
Yes. Okay.
St. John.
Yeah. The reason I screw that up is because in Newfoundland there's a
It's St.
St.
John's.
John apostrophe S.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool. And so growing up in our generation back then, like I just wanted to do this quick with you as a comparison. I
Yeah.
remember learning in history class Micmac natives, uh,
I'll see Micmac.
the Red River Rebellion,
Yeah.
the like the
The Othunk Indians and stuff like
yep, yep. Did you do like the Acadians, the French Acadians? Did you ever learn about them? I guess that was a
that.
Nova Scotia thing, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you had you ever heard about the Dolums in Nova Scotia, or like the crater? There's like a crater in Nova Scotia
Yeah.
and things of that. Had you heard of
Yeah.
any of that as well when you were growing up?
I heard about some of it, a lot of the history stuff for sure. In school, I took a specialized Native studies class,
Nice,
Micmac Maliseet culture. I was one of
nice.
the only non-natives that was in the course. So we learned a lot of different things about that, like the different sites, petroglyph sites and things like that.
I knew of none of this stuff, and now I live in
Yeah.
Georgia, so I have a big plan. Maybe we can hang out when we do for a bit, but of going up there to the Maritime Canada and checking out some of the sites.
Yeah.
Um, and I didn't even know there's petroglyphs like that. This is the first I'm hearing of.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. There's all kinds.
yeah,
There's,
yeah.
they're up in Miramichi. There's a bunch, and in Nova
Uh-huh.
Scotia, there's quite a few as well.
Do you know where they are, and would you ever be interested just going on a little road tripper with me?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going and visiting a lot of these places that are around here just to get some of the information out because there's not a lot.
No, no, and just for fun, right? That sounds like fun
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah,
Nova Scotia is beautiful. Awesome, man, because like that's the cool part is we're in the golden age of information, I believe. Some of the like mainstream quote unquote academic, which some people treat as a dirty word, but I don't. Narratives are coming crumbling down because like just the information's wide open, and then there's what I call citizen archaeologists, like a mutual acquaintance of ours, Michael Collins, guys like that who are going. He would never call himself an archaeologist, by the way, but
yeah,
I just called him a citizen archaeologist because he is one. Because he goes to all these sites and he gets all this stuff, but people like you and I was going to sites and like random sites in my area, so it's the
yeah,
golden age of that, right?
yeah, yeah. Things are changing pretty quick. Like especially with the new cameras and stuff that you can
Mm-hmm.
go out and do pretty much anything you want and get pretty good footage too. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's a different world.
It is. And yes, it is. And then you can, make a YouTube video and share it, and then a bunch
Yeah,
of people make YouTube X comments about it and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then the information just goes viral so fast. So
yeah.
it's the best time. It's the best time for this kind of thing. I'm excited. And so, but let's rewind a little bit. I got the kids call this getting pilled, but essentially taking the right pill, and getting like your eyes open.
Yeah,
I got pilled on this information at a very young age, like a lot of these concepts, like by old documentaries with Graham Hancock and Robert Schoch and all that
yeah.
stuff, and then also their books and whatever. When did you first start going, wait, some of these stones don't make any sense? Like when was the first
Uh,
time you got introduced to those ideas?
well, that's a tough. I've been interested in like history and
Mm-hmm.
science and stuff since I could read, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I grew up with pretty much every National Geographic, Popular Mechanics, and all that stuff
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
Cool.
So But I got into this stuff probably around 2012, like seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Curse of Oak Island came on, and there was a bunch
Sure.
of weird stuff about that. And then they were started talking about all the different things in the area, and I was like, oh, I didn't know any about like too much about that stuff. So I started researching it a bit, and I was posting a lot of stuff on Twitter back then about like what's local. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot in Nova Scotia, like the Vikings and Newfoundland and different things
Yes.
like that.
Can I
Uh,
stop you quick though? Is there more than
Certainly.
just that one famous site? I always forget what it's called, but there's a part of our heritage commercial about it. But
Yeah,
is there
yeah.
more than one Vikings
I think there are different spots, but I
like
think
little
that was an actual settlement. Like they were living
yes.
there.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, but there are actual well, I'll look into it later, but I'm pretty sure is that there are as well, like just like actual archaeological sites, but not
Yeah,
necessarily settlements.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I cut you off there, though. You were just talking about the Vikings and stuff in
Yeah, yeah,
Newfoundland.
yeah. So I got into that, and then there's like some stuff out in Saskatoon and like Alberta. There, I think
Mm-hmm.
Mike Collins has done a couple
Mm-hmm.
videos on like the stones out there and
Mm-hmm.
what they think is a megalithic site out there,
Mm-hmm.
and like British Columbia and all the Indian stuff out there. There's a lot of old petroglyphs and
Mm-hmm.
weird stories from around there about different travelers and stuff a long time ago. So that kind of piqued my interest into it.
So in 2012, what was it specifically that you were like, aha?
Uh, oh, well, a lot of the stuff that they found on Oak Island, I was like,
Okay.
this doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
The story doesn't make a lot of sense, and a lot
Mm-hmm.
of the stuff in the surrounding area. It seemed to me like there was something else going on there probably a long time ago, and that's when I got into like find. They talk about some dolmens on the Curse of Oak Island back
Mm-hmm.
then, and I was like, glacier erratics. I was always told, and then I was looking at them and thinking, well, that doesn't really look like a glacier erratic. It looks more like somebody built that,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah. You mentioned it that you were like you were like took a class for Micmac. Like what were you in school for? Because like I don't actually know your like background, like your work background, your educational history, but I just know that you're really into these stone nubs.
Yeah, well, I took that course. They were making a course for university. So when
Hmm.
I was in high school, it was like a test run of the course for the
Okay.
university. So they asked a bunch of people if they wanted to join, and I was dating a native lady at the time. So
Hmm.
I said, sure, why not? Like it'd be interesting to do. I know a lot of like I'm pretty much next door to the reserve here.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
a lot of natives, you know, great friends. And I was like, well, yeah, I'll learn something about them. After that, though, I did a lot of like construction work and uh, kind of bounced around doing a lot of like labor type jobs. And then I got bored and went back to school. I took biomechanical engineering,
Hmm.
and I was working for an environmental consulting firm for a while. We were doing like biodiversity census, looking at stream flow patterns and stocking lakes and electrofishing, things like that. And then I started working at a structural steel plant for a while. We were building parts for nuclear reactors. And then I got out of that and, just continued with a lot of construction design, manufacturing, parts and stuff like that. Uh, in construction, we did everything from like concept, groundwork, build the whole thing, every trade, a lot of industrial landscaping too. That's where I get into moving big rocks and stones,
Hmm. Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
groundwork. You kind of like it's not that easy to move that big block, you like
Hmm.
you learn real quick.
You get a feel
Uh,
for it, yeah, pretty
yeah,
quick,
yes.
yeah.
When somebody says, yeah, no, you just kind of two people pick this up, it's like, well, no, that you can't really pick that up with a tractor. So, you get a little annoyed with them.
Yeah, so with that kind of background, and engineers from all areas tend to kind of flock towards this particular topic,
Yeah,
but uh, with that type of background, you really would have a good idea of the feel, like as your word is better, a feel for, you know, what it would take to move, like large stones based on the size or the mass itself or the weight. And so I it's only natural that you'd get like fascinated with these like large stones, right? That just kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
seems like a good a good transition into there. So in the 90s, 90s, there was like they had like these like the Von Daniken stuff, some Hancock stuff. Had you heard of any of that stuff during that time?
Yeah, yeah, I got interested in a lot of that. Like, when I first started, I was like Ancient Aliens and
Yeah, I love that
a
shit.
lot of Graham Hancock and Randall Carlson and different
Yeah, yeah,
things like that. UFO stuff,
yeah.
just
The
a
rabbit
little bit of
hole, man.
yeah, a little bit of everything, and I was, open-minded and interested in everything.
Yeah, it's the rabbit hole, man. I blame Joe Rogan for doing it to most of the
Yeah,
world, but I did it to myself when I was like 10. But I'm happy it's these topics are on like such a like it's like not just trending. It's like in the
mm,
it's not even taboo to talk about UFOs or the pyramids
no.
being like a power plant anymore.
Yeah, well,
In fact, it's trending.
there's a lot more evidence coming out too. Like, it seems like every month or so, there's some great big new discovery going on here lately. So
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, have you seen her at my new show? It's not on this channel. It's called Breaking Ancient News. I do it with a
Yes.
couple other guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's exactly why we're
You,
doing it.
Cody, and
So
Aaron, isn't it?
yes, correct. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's exactly why we're doing that. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm happy you've heard of it because I think it's gonna do well. But this is about you, and y- I wanted to. There's a few things I wanted to hear about here. So let's start with like your first introduction to the nubs, and then I do want to talk about like your trip into Nova Scotia with Michael Collins and all that stuff. Okay.
Well,
So let's talk about your first introduction to the nubs, and then like you're like tell me about the nubs. Like why are you the Stone-Nub Language guy?
yeah, okay. So, one day on Twitter or X, I, I was just, going through a bunch of stuff, and somebody replied to something about these bumps on the stones,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of interesting. What do you guys think?" And they were telling me that, well, the guy I was talking to said he thought it might have be a language or some form of communication. And I was
Hmm.
like, "Oh, that's interesting, yeah." Like,
I
I was
thought
like,
of
I
that.
never really thought about it at the time, but the pictures he showed me some very specific pictures, and I was like, "Well, yeah, that looks a little weird. There might be something there." And, I got talking to him, and he asked me to join a group that they had, that was looking into the nubs. Back then, they weren't even called nubs really then, that, like, there was a couple of them calling nubs and a couple of them calling them knobs and nibs.
What time frame are we talking here?
This is like 2019, 2020, somewhere around there.
Okay. Yeah, because the word nub seemed to just suddenly appear
Yeah.
into the zeitgeist, and then
Yeah.
everyone was calling it a nub, so I went along with it.
Yeah. A lot of people were calling them knobs or different
Hmm.
things like that.
Hmm.
Uh, they were trying to set themselves apart from everybody else at the
Hmm.
time. Like, and when I was introduced to it, what I was told is we were looking at the ones that could not be explained by archaeology. So, they weren't lifting bosses, they weren't pintles or tenons or different things like that. They were a specific thing. So that's kind of where I took off from there. I was like, oh well, they're on stone. Back then, two people were looking at like pottery and different things with little bumps on them, and I was like, okay, no, no, we're just I just want to look at the stone ones. So I said I'm going to call
Hmm.
my the Stone-Nub Language. I thought it was
Got
some
it.
sort of a form of communication. So I said, I'm going to call it this. And that's kind of stuck.
The Stone-Nub language. Got it.
Yeah.
And so you get. Just want to make sure I heard that right. So you got the idea that it was potentially could be a language from somebody on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was a bunch of different theories for like what they could be.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that I was kind of interested in what he had to say, he thought it might be a form of communication.
Uh-huh.
So I was, and like I said, that's how I got introduced to it, and I kind of looked around, and I was like, yeah, I think that could be something. So I started with that
Mm-hmm.
as the basis.
Got it. And then, so what's your next steps moving forward from there? Because there's, there's a lot of, like you said, there's a bunch of different random ideas about what they are, and a bunch of people with opinions about them. And at that time, there's not even a consistent name we're calling them. So,
Right.
like, what's the
Right.
next step?
Well, okay, well, at that point, like I wasn't really, I didn't know that there was any background to it, but
Uh-huh.
apparently, there's a TED talk from 2007 or something where some guy's talking about them, and there was another group looking at these things in Peru at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and they thought it might have been a language too.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my train of thought there for a second.
You're good.
So I was thinking, uh, we need to have a definition is what we really need. Like what, when somebody asks you, what are you looking at? You have to be able to say, well, I'm looking at these because we do know from the record that there's all these other things that are on stone.
Mm-hmm.
Like the definition for nub can't just be bumps on stones. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got to kind of. So I got like a couple guys, and we made a definition back then. That was my first step. Try to legitimize this, right? Like I don't want to argue with archaeologists. I want to be able to say, like, I want to work with them. I want to say this is what we think.
Yeah.
Uh, so the definition we came up with was non-mechanical, simple shaped carved protrusions on finished stonework. That was a nub. Everything else was a lifting boss, or like I said, a tenon or something else.
Non-mechanical, simple shaped.
Carved protrusions on finished stonework.
Protrusions on finished stonework.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and this is just it because you guys felt like a need to classify them to separate them from other stuff that like would fit
Yeah.
into the category of a bump on a stone.
Bump on a stone. Yeah, because
Yeah.
most of the things that people call nubs, in my opinion, are not nubs.
Yes.
About only about 20% of what we see might be a nub. The rest of them are all something else that we already know.
Got it.
And whether anybody wants to like admit it or not, like there are lifting bosses, there are tenons, like there are things that do not fit this, like what we're looking at. They're not unknown. You know what I mean?
Yes. So then all of a sudden the nub thing becomes a bit of a phenomenon, maybe. Is this what happened? And then now all of a sudden everyone's like, here's a nub, there's a nub,
Yeah. Well,
everywhere a nub. You
yeah.
know?
At the time, like a couple of the people thought that this was some sort of a connection worldwide, and I was open to
Uh-huh.
it. And I started
I
looking.
still think it is. That's what people say out there.
Well, it is and it
I
isn't.
don't think it is. Like I'm not saying
Yeah.
I believe like I haven't looked into it enough, and I just like
Yeah.
that, and that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm like this. I've heard like what archaeologists say, which is typically generally like they just call them imperfections, don't they? Or
Yeah. Some of them. Yeah.
accidents, that
Well,
kind of thing.
they like to claim them all to be one thing, usually. Like
Okay.
both sides do this. A lot of the crazier ideas are like every bump on every stone's like something form of
Mm-hmm.
geopolymer remnant
Mm-hmm.
or something. And then you
Mm-hmm.
get the archaeologists, they're like, well, they're all lifting bosses. And then
Uh-huh.
I come in and I go, yeah, but they're not this and they're not that. But
Mm-hmm.
they could be this.
There could be this. And So what was the process of deciding on a classification system, so that you could decide, okay, so that you could rule out that 80% and focus on that 20% that you feel like are like an official nub? Like, how do you
Well, like
classify it?
like I said, when I started, I was told we're looking at the ones that can't be explained through archaeology.
Okay.
So I took that as the starting point. And like one of the sayings that they used to have was nubs are not for lifting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, so a lifting boss is not a nub, right? And I used to
Mm-hmm.
argue with the group all the time. They want, no,
Mm-hmm.
everything's a nub. And it's like, no, not everything's a nub. We know what a lot of these are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
and the problem with calling every bump on a stone a nub and trying to say that it's part of an ancient civilization is there are buildings being built right now with nubs on 'em. So,
But Crispin, it's fun, to think
oh,
that
I
it's
know
a
it's
nub.
fun. It's always fun, but eventually you have to go, okay, we got to start like saying, no, this is bull, and this is, we got to narrow it down, and especially if you
Yeah.
want anybody to listen to you.
I think what you're just saying is obvious, but like not everyone takes the time or like wants it. It's like, look, I point to this on almost every episode of my show,
Want to
but
believe?
yeah, like, and so, but it's important we check that in
Yeah.
ourselves, and it sounds like that's what you did, because you even said a few minutes ago that you wanted it to be a worldwide connection, because that's a fun idea.
Well, it's not that I wanted it to, but I was really open to it. I was like, well,
Yeah.
what could possibly be? Because we're seeing these things all over the world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they seem to be wherever civilization was or started. Like
Yeah.
the very first place, like that was built out of stone, Karen Tepe, like an actual site. There's a
Uh-huh.
nub there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
there's nubs in Egypt. There's nub, basically everywhere.
Yeah,
The only place that you can't find a lot are in Canada and the United States.
and that's because well, I'm not saying this with 100% certainty, but I think that's because Canada and the United States were under ice when they were a lot of them were built.
Yeah, yeah, I don't think that we were quite under as much ice as they say we were, though.
No, like as far as like Randall and stuff says.
Well, I think we went through periods where there was a lot of ice coverage, and then a
Mm-hmm.
lot of periods where there might have been little fingers of no ice going up
Mm-hmm.
farther up
Mm-hmm.
north. Like
Mm-hmm.
places where people could walk through. Maybe you could get
Sure.
around the Maritimes or different
Sure.
things like that.
Sure. It just makes the reason I say that, though, and it's just like me speculating, but it makes sense to me that, if we were dealing with like an ice age civilization, that like, and then there was a global catastrophe causing flooding, which is, I don't know if this is, I'm just guessing, but
Well, there
um
was.
yeah, yeah, there was a global catastrophe, but everything that I'm saying is putting it all together is, I'm guessing,
Yeah,
but it makes sense to me why it's harder to find um, evidence of lost ancient civ, like north of, you know, Minnesota.
yeah,
It makes sense
yeah.
to me.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but, like, we now know that there were people here a lot longer
Hmm.
back, right? Well, when
Oh
I
yeah,
went to school, it was like 8,000 BC was when people came to the Americas, and it's like,
I
well,
know,
now
that's so funny.
now there's evidence of 35,000 years in South
I think
America.
it's way earlier than that, but I love how it keeps getting older.
Yeah, well, yeah, there's some people that are, like, some respected archaeologists that say, 100,000 years is not crazy.
I don't think it's crazy. Just based on bioarchaeological discoveries recently, as
Mm,
far as like age of humans and stuff like that, age of anatomically modern humans, and I leave the door open like pretty wide, because of our scope of archaeologists themselves say they work from the known to the unknown, and we don't know jack shit. Like, we really don't.
yeah,
It's not that we don't know. When I say we don't know jack shit, it's nothing about It's not nothing wrong with archaeology. When I say that, I'm not. It's not a shot at them.
mhm,
What I mean is it's like we don't know like a whole lot about the ocean,
yeah,
but we don't go around pretending we do.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they can only go off the evidence that they have, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if there is no evidence, then, well, there's nothing there.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there's always something there to be found, and we see that all the time now.
It opens up, yeah, and then like we get a skull in China that possibly is like anatomically modern human that's a million years old, and then you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, you know. So, but back to the back to the nubs and the nub language. So we were in the like around it's like around COVID time. You're getting into this stuff, right? So you're
Yeah.
shut in the house up there in New Brunswick, just kind of going down the nub rabbit hole, or what?
Yeah, yeah, I was back then, I was also waiting for a surgery, so
Okay.
things were getting kinda crazy with that.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't sure if I was gonna be allowed in the hospital before
Oh
they
man,
shut it
yeah.
down.
That's
Uh,
right.
a few years before that and a few years, after that, I was either waiting for surgery or recovering from surgery, so I couldn't do a whole lot, so it was a
Uh-huh.
lot of, yeah, late nights all day, every day, looking
Uh-huh.
at stuff on the internet.
So
A lot
like
of
are you
photos.
on X, or you're also just Googling and you're
Uh, well,
watching YouTube?
I was still on X at that, like, I've had probably 14 X accounts.
Okay.
I've got, like I said, about 4 left, and they're all active. Uh, but yeah, it was a lot of X. The great thing about being in the group is you had people looking in different areas.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the people were overseas, so they were looking, Egypt and different places like that, sharing a lot of photos of places that I had never even thought of or heard of. And I had a big fascination with Peru, so that was my thing. I was like South America, well,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even North America if we can find anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I like
Mm-hmm.
just sharing the photos with everybody in the group. You got a real good idea that you could just basically look anywhere and find them.
Yeah. So how did the group like come together? Like so that like you guys were all kind of coordinating.
Well, there was a couple guys that started the group, and they invited some other people in that had an interest.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I said, I there was 5 people in the group, I think, when I joined it, so I was like the 6th guy. Uh, and then, like I said, they just asked me if I wanted to join. After that, there was a lot of people joined the group, but I had left it by that point because I was getting a little frustrated with the way things were going.
Yeah. It's like it was a group like on X or on
Yeah,
Discord
yeah.
or okay. All
No,
right.
it was a next group. One of the guys, Phil, he ran Ancient Alternative View,
Mm-hmm.
and Ziggy Dan, Sherman Osborne.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. He shares my stuff all the time. I like him.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Dave Hanrahan and Andrew Finnick. Those were the guys that were in the group when I joined, and
Mm-hmm.
they had YouTube channels, and we're doing all this stuff on YouTube, and it was starting to take. Yeah, people were starting to get interested at that time. Like I come into it just at the right time, I think, when everybody was really starting to get into it.
Mm. Okay. And I say again, I just seen them show up in documentaries or
Mm.
because like I watch everything that's like
Yeah.
Lost Ancient Civ and stuff like that. And then but so you guys are working in different areas, you're doing research in different areas, and you guys are sharing information to like kind of
Y
try to see if you can put together a language,
Well, every there was
sort of.
the group was kind of broken up. There were some
Fractured, a
people that,
bit fractured, yeah.
yeah, like, I'm not crazy down the pseudo side. I'm more close
Yeah, I
to the
can tell. That's
archaeology side,
I get it. Yeah, but
and
it's okay.
it's not that I don't think that a lot of this stuff is possible or true, or it's just I wanna work off the evidence that I
You're
have.
conservative, yeah, with it.
Yeah, well, the point was to eventually write a paper and work with, like, I've been working with some archaeologists and linguists and anthropologists. Like, I'm really good friends with a lot of people that a lot of people don't like.
Okay.
Behind closed doors, they're pretty open-minded, but out in the public, they can't be quite so much.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, I wanted to do things right, but it's turning into something that I just can't. I it's going to take too much time, too much energy. When you're starting something from scratch, like something that's totally unheard of, there's a
Hmm.
whole lot that has to go into it that I'm
Hmm.
not really prepared to do it right now. So
Yeah,
things are kind of on the pause.
you kind of need like a bunch of graduate assistants and stuff doing field research and stuff for you, in a
Yeah,
university.
yeah, yeah.
That
To
would
go
be
to the next
helpful.
level,
Yeah,
to get to the next level, I really have to start visiting these places and
yeah.
documenting this stuff
Uh-huh.
myself. And
Uh-huh.
and like I can ask. I know a lot of people in Peru, a lot of people around the world, where I can ask and say, can you go get me a photo of this?
Sure.
But even a photo, like you need so many photos of one thing to get an idea of how it relates to the whole thing, that
Hmm.
it becomes a big process, and it's just hard to do. I
Well,
kind of need to do it myself.
you're talking about surveying like like
Yeah,
a lot all
yeah,
across the world. It's like
yeah.
it is a big project. Like I can see why you're like a little bit like, let me just put this on pause. Um,
Yeah, well, I started with just Peru, like
mhm,
mostly just Peru, because I figured, well, there's no contact supposedly with anywhere else on the planet. So if there's anything there that relates to anywhere else, you're going to find some connection here.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so my focus is really on Peru. When I look other places, there's a lot of similar stuff, but it's not quite the same.
mhm.
And I was advised, well, take this one spot, get this part done. Kind of break it up into multiple papers over multiple, you know, places and years, basically.
Mhm, mhm. When it comes to the nubs, like what kind of theories that are out there that like just drive you nuts? Like
Of all of them, no. The biggest ones that drive me nuts are the geopolymer, ancient
okay.
technology,
Uh-huh.
natron.
Uh-huh.
Those ones absolutely drive me nuts.
Yeah, and I can guess why, but would you just please elaborate why?
Yeah, it's not that I have anything against anybody having any opinions
Of
either. Like
course not.
you can think whatever you want. It's when you start pestering me about it,
Yes.
and every time I post something, you come in with ha ha ha. No, they're this and this. It's like, okay, man. Like seriously. Um, the big problem I have with the ancient technology is, like I said, from Karen Tepe to today, they're being carved on stones. So it can't really be a remnant of an ancient technology if they're still using them today. Same kind of thing with geopolymer. Uh, if they were using them then and doing it now. So you're saying everything is not real? That's a little bit much. They're found
Right.
on they're found on bedrock, and I'll get the geopolymer guys. Well, can you prove it's bedrock? And I'm like, I don't need to prove it's bedrock. You can see it in the photo.
It's
Like
on the
like
bedrock.
Yeah, yeah. Like if you're claiming that that's fake, then you're claiming that the whole continent is fake, which is a bit much. That's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse. You know what I mean?
Well, people will like ignore an entire elephant just to prove the mouse that's in the room is the one that farted.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they will. So
Yeah.
um, I just I just made that up, by the way. So if anyone wants to coin that, that's a,
Yeah.
that's
Trademark.
that's completely new.
Yeah.
Geopolymer stuff, ain't just anything in the ancient technology thing. Because why? Because what I always hear, it's like, oh, it's because it's like the size of the stones, it's carved in relief. It must have some sort of point to it, and then you can just take that and then just splinter that out into all the way to aliens, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
A lot of people don't want to research like actual stuff too, like stone masonry. Like how do you
right?
cut?
No, yeah.
How do
Why
you?
why would you do that though?
Yeah. How do you cut and move stones? Like that's a crazy concept when you're looking at stones, I guess. But I think the big problem is with like the polygonal stones that you find in Peru and other
Okay.
places that they're it's hard for people to understand how to do that if you've never actually done anything like that. Like I've done a lot of like working with steel and stone and wood and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like I make things. So
Mm-hmm.
I understand that there's a process on how to get from step to step to step.
Yeah, yeah.
And you get a lot of people that go and they visit there and they're like, yeah, but I've been there and I saw it. And it's like, yeah, but I've been to a restaurant, but I'm not a chef either. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it, you know, it's just like the other problem with the polygonal stones is you're looking at them in the wall already built,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to how they got to that point. It's really confusing, I think, for a lot of people to even just comprehend how it was done.
Well, it is. That's why people, when you put on that show, you remember that show? I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was like how it's made. I think it's literally called How It's Made,
Yeah,
and it would just literally be like this, loop of like the manufacturing process of like your canned beans or something like that, right?
yeah,
And most people, like including myself, I'm totally guilty of this. And Mike,
mm,
my co-host, being a chemical engineer at a paper plant for 10 years,
yeah,
is very aware of like what a manufacturing process is, and most of us aren't.
mm,
So it's super easy to like know how your Campbell's chicken noodle soup got in your cupboard, but there's steps in a process that's very
yeah.
confusing and long, and that's why Elon himself says that the most difficult thing to do is manufacturing. It's the most complex.
And a lot of
Yeah.
the steps are really confusing too. Like
Yes.
for someone that doesn't know how to do something like if you're making something by hand, a lot of the times you get about halfway through it and you have to half destroy it to get to the next step.
Correct.
And they don't understand that. So like doing things by hand is a lot different than doing them by machine. It's a lot more involved, but there's simple steps that, that aren't as complicated as people want to make it if you do it in the right way, I guess.
Correct. So before I want to start showing some of your pictures, but before we do, the so you mentioned the polygonal walls, especially
Yeah.
we're also thinking Peru and Sacsayhuaman. You feel the same way about the geopolymer stuff, about just in general, that how those were constructed, not just the nubs, like just like they're like it's put together by a puzzle, like ancient aliens, and even just like fairly like less. Uh, it's people can make it sound very like mysterious, and you're saying it's
Yeah.
not as mysterious as they make it sound, or what?
Well, it's mysterious when you're looking at it the way it is now, but you got to
Mm-hmm.
remember it got to that point. That's the end step, right? It went through a bunch of steps along the way to get there.
Okay. All
And
right.
one of the, like I don't know if there's any site in Peru where they don't know where the quarry was, and most of the quarries are like on site or real close. So that once you know that, then the kind of the geopolymer thing gets, it's a little less likely. I think it's a lot more uh, amazing that it's actual stone as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to being anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And like with the polygonal stonework, other people have talked about this before. The chances of like the archaeology explanation is they put the stone up and they measured and they brought it down and trimmed it and then set it back up and trimmed it and that's really not how it was done. Like they would have laid the wall down. You would have imagine a puzzle or mosaic floor. If you flop the wall down, the joints in between the stone are perfectly flat. So when you lay it down, they're perfectly vertical. So all you need is a plumb bob and a scribe to make your cuts. And you're not actually chiseling the stone. You're breaking off large chunks and like you see those weird angles.
Uh-huh.
They break off a large chunk on a corner and then they just have to finish that side. So
Uh-huh.
it's not it's still really complicated, but it's not as
Not
complicated.
It's not magic, and
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff in the walls. Like at Sacsayhuaman, one of the things you'll notice is the largest stones are at the bottom.
uh-huh. Yeah.
Same with Cusco, same
Yeah.
with Machu Picchu. The smaller ones are at the top. So right off
Uh-huh.
the bat, they had problems moving these stones. That's why the big ones are on the bottom, and they get smaller as they go up.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
there's, it's not as complicated, I don't think, as people want it to be.
Okay, let's do a screen share and just start taking a look at some of this stuff from your eyes view. I, I I think it's important that before we get to the nub language that we just kind of get an idea of what we're talking about, like of sites all around the world and that kind of thing. So would you please go ahead for the audience and explain, like what people are calling nubs, what you consider nubs, show us some examples of stuff around the world.
Yeah. I'll give you like some examples of what I consider nubs versus things that we already know, is I guess is the best way to put it.
Okay.
Um, this site here, this is Huaca de Pachacutec in Cusco,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see right here on this panel, those are bed nubs carved into the bedrock.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, this is an entrance to a structure that no longer exists. It's been torn apart now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is in Java. It's a dolmen, and you can see right here on the side there are this little pattern of nubs there. They look a lot like the ones on the Tizer dolmen, if you know what that one looks like.
Yeah, I just discovered that one. That's in
Yeah,
Montana, right?
it's even got the crack with the one on one side and two on the other.
Yeah.
Uh, what's next? This is Russia, Kronstadt, Russia.
What?
Yeah,
I've
second
never
now.
seen that. Can you zoom that?
Yeah,
I've
see
never
them.
heard of this in my life.
See them on the side here.
Yeah, who built that?
It's supposedly a naval fort for Russia, I guess,
And it's
but
got a bunch of nubs.
there's a bunch of them on it, and they're random. You can see they're not on every stone, right?
Yeah,
And,
which is the nub phenomenon, right?
which is yeah, and they're not in the same position on the stones that they're in. There's one, there's one
Uh-huh.
there and two
Uh-huh.
there.
Uh-huh.
This site was supposedly built over top of an old megalithic site. That's the story they say.
Huh. Well, can you go back to that one really quick?
Yeah.
Do you know anything of just like even off the top of your head about about that old megalithic site that's supposedly there, the story or whatever? Do you know anything about that?
No,
No.
nobody really does. They built all this. There's several forts there that they built over top of these sites.
Uh-huh. Yeah, okay. Wow.
And this is
That's
this is
amazing.
only this one's only a couple hundred years old too. It's not even that
Sure.
old.
That's amazing. It looks like Braille on there. That's what that looks like to me is Braille.
Yeah, that was my first thought when I saw this stuff too.
Hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
now this is a lotus pond. This is in Sri Lanka, and here we zoom in here.
Oh yeah,
See
there's a
right
nub.
one
Wow.
right there, and on the
Wow.
other side, there you can't see it so well in this photo, but there's another one on the other side across from it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
That's it in the whole pond. Like and it's you need to pay attention to the fact that it's a circular nub too, because that's going to come in here in a bit. This is an amphitheater,
Mm-hmm.
Delphi.
Mm-hmm.
You can see them across the bottom and up the stairs.
These ones are triangular, at least three of four. One, two, three.
They're a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Wow.
Uh, then this is Turkey. You can see one right here in the middle of the
Where in
stone.
Turkey is that? Do you know?
Uh, I can't. Lycia.
Okay. Wow.
And
Just got the
up,
one just in the corner in the right angle, almost right angle corner there.
yeah, and the big stone beside it's got none.
And
It,
it's
it,
got
you know,
cuts in it. The big stone beside it has weird cuts in it, but that's
yeah,
besides
yeah.
the point.
Uh,
Weird.
this is France or Brittany. Nope, sorry. Now, these are getting into what I consider like symbolic parts of the nubs. Like these are supposed to be female breasts is the story. Each pair.
Come on. I've seen
Well,
bet. They might be. I'm just saying. I've
that's
seen.
yeah,
I've seen better on a porta potty stall in Iraq.
yeah.
But no, possibly. Yeah.
That's the archaeology explanation is the fertility thing in the dolmens or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but notice they're also round as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's weird.
And here we
And
have India, and you can see way down here, little one right there,
little nub. Huh.
little nub. The whole place is good. Usually you'd see them up and through here, but they've all seemed to be gone except for just one little one there. There always seem to be around stairs too and entrances.
Hmm.
This is in the Caucasus Mountains, the dolmen. You can see on the wall here. There's one right there, and another one over here. Um, and here we go. This is Egypt, the Assyrian, and two of them right there.
That's a random. That Caucasus Mountain one is like I've never seen that before in my life. That's
Well,
wild.
there's a lot of them on dolmens in the Caucasus. A lot of the time you'll see them up here on the
Uh
top
huh. Uh
or
huh.
or on the sides. Not too many of them have them in the surround. Uh, it's a little less common. Now,
Like Georgia,
the,
Dagestan area kind of thing.
yeah, they're all over the Caucasus Mountains, really.
Huh.
Now, these are what I would say are lifting busts, not nubs. A lot of people call these nubs, but they're obviously to me for lifting the lid off the
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. That's a totally different thing.
Yeah, so this is where, what are they and what aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Here again, here these are for lifting. They're not lifting it in this photo because they don't want to damage it. But
Mm-hmm.
and here's another one. Now, the weird thing on this one is well, this one right here. You have the large ones on the top for lifting the lid, but what is this one right here? So there is like a possibility that not all of them are like not every bump on a lid or a box is a lifting bust. Some of them might actually be nubs, but you got to do it like a case by case basis, really.
Yeah.
Stonehenge, this would be a tenon. A lot of people say those are nubs, but that's obviously a mechanical fitting.
Yeah.
Uh,
No. I've been there. By the way, you ever been there?
yeah, no, I've never been there.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I got to go for like a morning tour and
okay.
like a sunset tour and be, before the tour buses, and I got to like walk all up and around them, which was pretty dream come true for me there. That was pretty
Isn't it?
cool.
It's roped off now, isn't it?
It's roped off, yeah, but if you pay like extra,
Oh,
so it's typically like 90% of the people who or more who go see it, they tour bus after tour bus after tour bus pulls up there. They herd you like cattle into their shuttles up to the site. You walk around the rope. It takes about 15 minutes or whatever, and take your pictures, and then you're out of there. I
mhm,
get to go and like walk in amongst the stones. The sun was rising. There was only like two security guards that stay there overnight,
okay.
and that was it. And there was like me and like I don't know, maybe 12 other people, and it was the way to do it for me. I would have been anxious the whole time, like because I don't like waiting in lines like that, and like getting in a bus and then like getting herded like cattle like that. And then I didn't want to be in a hurry. I wanted to like take my time and
Yeah,
absorb the moment. But anyway, that's my story. But if you ever get to do that, it's not that much extra. You just got to go super early in the morning. So I'm
yeah,
just throwing that out there.
yeah.
But there's a nub. Is there people what are calling nubs here on this stone?
Well, they're calling these nubs.
Yes.
The
Okay.
tenons on the top of the stone, and you can see
Uh-huh.
where they fit
Uh-huh.
into the bottom of the stone here.
Sure. Correct.
So like I said, my definition is non-mechanical. So anything
Uh-huh.
mechanical, I'm trying to omit.
Yeah, rule out. Correct.
And then you have Olan Tetombo here. Um, the a lot of people call these nubs. Uh, what they are now is gnomons. They're anything that casts a shadow to tell a time is a gnomon, like the spire on
Okay. Mm-hmm.
like on a sundial. That little piece that sticks up,
Is a,
that's a
is a
gnomon.
gnomon. Got it.
Yeah, but like these ones are a little different. I think originally, like this was a structure originally. This was the back wall
Uh-huh.
of something that you can see the outside wall here. So I think these were for tying in like a beam or something to make the roof originally, like a
Okay.
pintle.
This is
And then
Peru.
yeah, then the Inca came along and modified the bottom here. Like you can see the notch cut out there. I think they did that to tell time. That's a solstice marker or something.
Okay.
You
And
know?
now I just wanted to pause quick there,
Yeah.
because I hadn't asked you yet, because I wanted to kind of wait and see where we went with the nub presentation. But so it's your belief that the Inca didn't do the really difficult ones that we see that with the Inca structures on top, or what do you think? Like, there's a lot of people say, like, for example, like, you got, I like Brian Forster, but like, he says everything's like that in Peru. Like, it's like,
Yeah. Yeah, well, you can definitely tell there's a separation between
sure.
the megalithic work and the Inca work.
Hmm.
And like the Inca's own stories on a lot of this stuff don't line up with archaeology.
No, they don't.
And they don't even make a lot of sense when you're looking at a lot of this stuff. Um,
Yeah, they don't. I just appreciate your point of view, because you can't, like, uh you, like you said, you like to stick with the archaeology, and you like to work from the
yeah,
facts, right? And
yeah,
in this particular case, well, in a lot of places in Peru, when you do that, you can't fill in the blanks. There's too much unknown.
yeah. There's a lot of unknown, but
Yeah.
like the fact that the Inca didn't build this is not really that crazy of a concept anymore. A
It's
lot of
not,
people,
but is it not still controversial? Like, as far as, like, in a
it's
university?
well, it's more controversial for like the Flint Dibbles of the world and John Hoopses and stuff
Got it.
who have a dogmatic view. But a lot of the people that like the anthropologists and archaeologists and stuff that work down there, they will tell you this is pre-Inca.
Yeah.
They're not saying it's 7,000
Aliens,
old,
or yeah, right.
but it's just not the Inca. It was whoever was there before them.
Uh-huh.
That's as far as they want to go. But like, if you said, I think this is 2,000 years old, I don't think too many of them would really freak out and yell at you.
Got it.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah, right. And then the Flint Dibbles and the John Hoopses make that, like, it cut, and then you get this, like, separation. What people do with politics too, which we don't do on our show, but
Yeah.
it's the same phenomenon. They jump into one camp or the other, and it's like all these archaeologists are dickheads, and then all these people are think it's aliens and it's conspiracy theories, and it's like, it's like, couldn't it be in the middle? you know?
Yeah, that's I think both sides are probably wrong, and it's the answer
Yeah,
is somewhere in the middle.
yeah, that's almost always the case.
Yeah.
These are weird ones. Where's
It's
this?
the same spot. This is just a different view.
Okay.
You see them here.
Uh-huh. Wow, those protrude a lot more than I was expecting. That's why I thought it was a different spot.
Exactly, which is why I think they're pintles. Or they
Hmm.
were originally pintles, where you would tie a beam on across here
Hmm.
to.
That almost looks obvious to be a mechanical function.
Yeah, yeah. You see a lot of this stuff at like Machu Picchu around the top of the buildings. You'll see the pintle sticking out, or at Pisac.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
like yeah, it's almost obvious that they're. See, this is the Inca work, the Nomans, where they've marked
Hmm.
these ones that make the shadow down here.
Hmm.
But like I
Hmm.
said, that's one of those they've reworked it, obviously, because it wasn't that to begin with, and that this is one of those things that you can argue with archaeologists about, because they know that this was a structure at one point. So they also know that this Inca probably didn't do it in the first place. You see, you have the same thing here. This is I'm not sure of the name of this place. I'm bad with the names, Eric. I'll butcher them. But
You
this
actually
was,
did better than me on the last couple. So
well, some of the ones that I need to know, I know. Some of the ones I don't know so much. But this is well, they used to call it the House of the Rising Sun at White Rock.
Mhm.
The Inca name, I'm not sure, and right off the top of my head, but this is actually a white rock that's covered in lichen. And these right here, people say those are nubs, but again, I think those are pintles that were used for a roof that came out, because you can see like work around the bottom where there could have been like a room or just a roofed area there, like maybe an
Uh-huh.
entrance.
That's
These
a
ones,
weird boulder, though. Like that boulder's like in the middle of like that's a boulder's in a weird spot, isn't it?
oh, and yeah, and it's gigantic.
Yeah,
A person can stand right here.
yeah.
These these ones
That's a
at the
weird boulder.
these ones at the top, though, I'm not quite so sure what they are, because they're it's just a weird.
And those look to be they look to protrude based on the sun, or based on the shadow. I mean, just as far as the other ones, they had the same
Yeah.
function.
Well, these two probably, I think, were probably angled in to
Uh-huh.
whatever was here. You know what I mean, like a pitched roof. But this one at the top,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so sure.
Uh-huh.
Like it's one of those things you got to do a case by case basis. And the problem
Yeah.
with a lot of these places is the stone's been reworked, so you're kind of working backwards.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Could it have been? You can see
Yeah.
nothing there. They're quite large. So
Those are from the previous picture.
yeah, they're the ones in the row.
Okay. Can you go back to the other one?
Certainly.
I just wanted to ask, because I'm just gonna be like honest. I'm
Yeah.
based like for like your engineer, construction, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm basically like disabled when it comes to like stuff like that. Like being
Okay.
honest, like I have my own strengths, and
Yeah.
those aren't them. That isn't it. So, but if you could, keeping that in mind, um, what the hell would the Inca have done with this? Like is structure wise, like, and you're saying the Inca made this the side of a structure? Like
Well,
they built a structure onto the side of this? Is that what you're saying? Or possibly,
well,
potentially?
yes. Well, see, the Inca called this the English name for what this place was originally called was the House of the Rising Sun. It was a house, like
Hmm.
one of the Inca rulers or whatever
Okay.
had some sort of a house here.
Yes.
Whether there's some stuff on the top, but
Yeah.
one of the things you notice in the Americas a lot,
That's
like
insane.
even in like the Northwest, the states and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
Uh, a lot of these places were built like on existing features. Like
Sure.
you'd have a huge like Sage Wall. Take that place for example. I think that's a natural feature, but
I think I do too, unfortunately.
people, when does it become not a natural feature? If people were living there, like it's already a wall. So all you have to do is put sides and the top on it and you got a house. A lot of
Mhm.
these places in
Mhm.
Peru are the
Mhm.
same type
Mhm.
of thing. They're built into cracks in the bedrock.
Mhm. Mhm.
You see it at Kenko and different places like that.
Yeah.
Uh, and what's the place? Oregon. There's an Oregon rock shelter. It's can't remember the name of it, but it's the same idea. It was just a big wall that had a little bit of an overhang, and people lived there for like 18,000 years ago. But
Right.
you see a lot where they'll build the place like this, and you see a lot of stairs and stuff going up because the actual structure was built on top of the rock. Like Kenko was once an actual building
Uh-huh.
on top of all that weird stuff.
Uh-huh.
Uh, I'll just jump into this too.
Yeah.
These are pintles around a window. at Machu Picchu. So you can obviously see there's some sort of mechanical function there where they're holding something in around the window.
Sure.
Uh, these are
What the fuck?
those are at the altar at the Coricancha.
That big one's weird. That was my what the fuck. That's a
Yeah,
weird
yeah.
one.
Well, this is the altar is this way,
Okay.
off to the right or left here. So
Mm-hmm.
these ones here, the big ones, they're around the top, so they were
Mm-hmm.
probably pintles again to hold in like a roofed area. But
Mm-hmm.
these ones down, this one down here, it looks more like a nub. It's a rounded thing. It only sticks out an inch or two. And the
Mm-hmm.
other thing is this place has been all reconfigured because there's been like 3 or 4 earthquakes, a big fire. The
Uh-huh.
Inca, the Inca redid it when they got there. The
Mm-hmm.
Spanish did a bunch of stuff when they were there too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you see the pintles and stuff on the roofs here. This is what I was talking about, mechanical.
Yeah, okay.
You can see how that would work with those other ones that I showed you, like at Olante Tombo and one that we
Yeah.
just looked at. There's some more of them there. You can see how they tied them in here. You can see they put the beam up and then tied the rope around to hook them into the roofs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like here would be a better picture there.
Yep.
And you've got these things. These are roof rings too. One here and one here.
Where's
Well,
that?
the roof rings.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
also,
where is this?
oh, that's Machu Picchu.
Okay, all right, yeah.
Yeah, people also call those nubs. And that's the in and outs of what is and what isn't a nub from my point of view, really.
Got it.
Um, I can switch to another file here if you want.
Yeah, please. In my completely uneducated guess, it's just not even guess. This is just a thought that came to my head. Is it? Do you think that it's possible that some of them are like they just stopped? No, this isn't a completely formed thought. Maybe I shouldn't say it out
Oh,
loud.
no, keep
It
going.
just I was just thinking like maybe like they just didn't finish shaping it because they were worried that it was going to crack or split, so they
Which
just left
ones?
it. I don't
All of
know.
them, or
No. Just like a percentage of them might be like just like
oh, well,
okay, we had to stop here, kind of
I
thing.
wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt it. Like that's why I also have in my definition they're
Oh,
unfinished stonework.
got it. Yeah,
So,
that's what I was going. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, either
yeah,
unfinished, and maybe it was unfinished for a reason. Like maybe
yeah,
they had a way of telling that this stone was going to be able to split or about to crack. Like they got really used to working with the stone, and they were
yeah,
able to tell. Okay, this one's done. You know,
yeah.
because the thing is you would have to get good at that when working with these stones, being able to tell. Because the last thing you want is like a stone of the pregnant woman sitting in a quarry unfinished. I don't know if that's the unfinished one, but they have an unfinished one over there, and it's like those super long ones.
Yeah.
It's just finished because they had to leave it there because it split. So they probably spent a shitload of time doing a bunch of work.
Oh, like the obelisk and stuff.
But yeah. To my point, after my rambling, I that's how I feel like it possible that some of them might be that phenomenon. Just like you don't want to work so hard for nothing, and so they must have gotten really good at leaving them. And maybe some nubs are that. That was my random theory.
Can you see this photo here of Yang Shen?
Yeah, and this is the first time I saw this was a guy. I don't know if you saw him on my show. I can't remember his name right now. You know the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
a huge nub. That one there.
Well, are they nubs? It's not finished.
Ah,
See, and
yeah.
this is one of those things. Like the reason they didn't finish it is because the emperor that wanted this done was crazy. He was never told no in his entire life. So when he said, "I want to build this," they just said okay and started building it. And then they got to the end and they're like, "Oh, we can't move this. Like there's no way. Like we carved it, but it's never going to be moved."
Yeah.
But this stone is supposed to be a dragon. So if you see on a dragon, you see all these little spiky things that are coming out around it. This is
Mm-hmm.
the top view of that stone. So this was the
Mm-hmm.
neck. The head would have
Mm-hmm.
curved around,
Mm-hmm.
and those little things sticking out the side were supposed to be the little flourishes and spiky bits sticking off the dragon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh,
So I
that
I
look.
don't think
Sorry, go ahead.
I just to me I omit them. It's not finished. I don't think it was ever going to be moved. They're not for lifting. They're not really even nubs.
Yeah. This one, this other, because otherwise it's an Occam's razor thing,
Yeah,
because this thing is so absurdly big that
yeah.
the idea that they would have even like considered moving it is more absurd than the emperor being crazy and the people just being like, okay, let's just carve this fucking thing, right?
Well, what are you going to tell him? You're going to say no. He's just going to say, okay, you're dead. So you
Yeah,
know,
and this one is absurd.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
A lot of people try to like make patterns out of this stuff, but you can clearly see that they're curving around it, and they're only in a certain spot. And like you've seen the other stone, the big stone.
Yeah, I just yeah, I've
It, it,
seen
it's it's
whatever
fifteen
Mark.
thousand tons. So like I think this one is like 6,000 tons. The other one's 8, and there's one that's 15. But
That's
you're
just
talking,
absurd.
well, yeah, 15,000 tons. You're talking 15 stones of the pregnant woman. Like there's no way.
You know what this thing looks like from this view? What
What?
are those things on Empire Strikes Back?
Oh yeah,
You
the
know what I'm talking
walkers.
about? Yeah, the Imperial Walkers. That's what that thing
Yeah,
looks like to me.
yeah. That definitely what that looks like.
That's insane.
Okay, okay. So I'll get out of here, and we'll get. You want to get into the nub language part?
Yep. I'm gonna
Okay.
timestamp quick. 117. Some of this stuff I haven't seen, so Nubs is not something I went deep on. I was waiting to do it with you because like I just see it show up on the on uh, you know documentaries and people podcasts and stuff like that, but I went deep.
Okay. Okay. So I'll start off with like old languages and how I think they relate,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yep.
So these are 36 symbols that are found all over the world.
Huh.
And you'll notice a lot of them are nub shapes. Like you get these little half circles and
Mm-hmm.
circles and squares, even
Mm-hmm.
some patterns. You'll see some
Mm-hmm.
dots and
Triangular ones. Yeah.
yeah. So these are extremely old. Tens of thousands of years old, but they're found all over the world.
Hmm.
This is them here again. Um, these are uh, cuneiform or Sumerian tokens, like proto cuneiform. But before they had cuneiform, they made these little clay tokens,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd press them into clay and string them together in like a necklace, and stick them inside the clay, and then press them into the clay, and then the symbols would well, basically it's a language, really. You know what I mean? The one symbol is for corn or wheat or whatever. They're just inventory basically, but they're
Mm-hmm.
all simple shapes, which is goes back to what I'm talking about with nubs. This is one of those little clay balls, and that they stick these things into the side before they had the cuneiform tablets. And they're all basically nub shapes. If you notice, they're all like little half moons and circles and squares and triangles and different things like that. And that's where language started, right? It was cuneiform.
Yep.
I know a lot of these things here. Now these are symbols that you find in the Americas.
Okay.
So you'll again, they're all these same simple symbols:
Mm-hmm.
cold, fire, capital. Just squares and circles and lines. Basically, is all
Yep.
we're looking at. which is
Yep.
the same as nubs. And here you have petroglyphs. They did this a lot in the Americas, where they'd find a petroglyph with something. This is a natural feature, but then
Uh-huh.
they'd make something around it. So this,
Uh-huh.
footprints in a fox, or a coyote and the sun, or probably, maybe even the moon. I doubt it, but it says something, right?
Uh-huh.
And here's some more of those. You can see that a lot of people were doing this through a long time in the
Oh
Northwest.
yeah. So do people sometimes call those nubs too?
Some do, yeah, but they're not intentionally carved, so
No,
they're
they don't.
natural features.
They don't look. Yeah.
Yes, so they're not quite the same. Now, this quipu is the big thing in Peru.
Okay.
The language of string with different knots tied into them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of patterns, a lot of simple shapes, and you'll see a lot of like little simple things here where you'll get two lines connected or they'll branch off. And that ties into a lot of what you see in Peru too with the nubs in certain spots. Like here, the tens, hundreds, ones, just different ways to read them.
Huh. Yeah.
We we still don't know how to read it, but
Sure,
they
but
have
this
they
this
have
is
enough.
an example of what it could look like.
Well, some of it we have basic understanding of some of it, but like we can't like read it like a book yet.
Uh-huh.
We can pick out certain parts of it. And like I said, the way it was done was different angles and different shaped knots, which ties in because nubs are different shapes and different sizes, and it's a kind of a binary language, just like Quipu, as far as like from my point of view. And these are just old hand symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'll get into get out of here. So in Peru, this is where I focused most of the stuff. You'll find stuff like this. This is Tambo Mache. And you'll notice right here, this one little stone, all the stones are blank. There's no markings on any of them. But to the left of the fountain, there's this one little nub right there. I got a
Mm-hmm.
close-up picture here. That's a better picture of it. Um, that's another photo.
Uh-huh.
This is a totally different fountain in a different location. And to the left of the fountain, there's one nub.
Hmm.
Is just the same shape too. It's just a circle, like a half a baseball. You cut it in half and stick it to the stone.
Is that a
That
hole in it?
Yeah, I think that's just like an imperfection in the stone.
Got it.
It just happens to be there. Or it could have been intentional. Maybe they stuck a torch or something in there at one point. I don't know.
Hmm.
Again, there's another fountain at Machu Picchu, and on the backside, there's one nub right there. So there seems to be a connection with some of the simple symbols and different, like across several sites in the similar locations. Now, this is the
So
Walker Raton
it's like a similar symbol,
in a similar
uh,
spot.
like near a fountain, for example.
Well, yeah, so the left side of the fountain is not unusual to find a circular nub.
Got it. Okay.
So this is Walker Raton in Cusco, and you'll see right here, there's another circular nub. Now, this is the entrance. You'd walk
Mm-hmm.
in this way. You'd come in from behind this rock through here and around the side. So again, it's on the left, and it's also a circle, and it's carved on bedrock. There's a better photo of it there. Um, and here we have Pasak, and walking up to the entrance to the temple, once again on the left, there is a round nub
Mm-hmm.
carved on the bedrock.
Yep.
You
That's
know,
round. Yep.
so then we go to Kenko. This is the main entrance wall, kind of like Huaca de Pachacutec there. There's a little lip across the top where they had something coming off the side. But this is the entrance, and you would walk up this path here. And right here, I'll go to the next photo. there's another circular single nub. Again, it's on the left-hand side when you're walking into the entrance. And then we have water aqueducts. Inside the aqueducts, you'll find these little nubs here. A lot of people say that they're for checking the water level or whatnot, but you can see down into it. It's only a foot or two deep. You don't really need something that you can tell how deep the water is, kind of.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, yeah.
but again, it's another single circular. I think that the circular nub might have been like an ownership mark, or like this is our territory. This was made by us, or yeah, like a sign of ownership almost. And here's Olante Tombo, and right there in the middle, there's one little nub right there.
Maybe it was like like it's like having a mailbox with the number on it for your house.
Yeah, or like if there's different groups, this is our group, this is your group, or
Yeah. Uh-huh.
different things like that. So here's another single one. There's a structure to the right of it, but there's also this one here carved in the bedrock, and then this one up here carved in the bedrock. So some of them seem to be, like I said, the simple circles seem to be in specific spots.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more complex stuff that you'll see later on. Now here, this. Oh, did you have something to say?
I'm just thinking what comes to mind when, based on where I'm at to speed at this moment, when I see those is like similar phenomenon. People just like building structures on the side of those spots.
Mm-hmm. What, like an Olante Tombo?
No, go back.
Yeah. Well, the problem is
Like,
most
what's the
people
point of that nub? Like, what it?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I Some of them I have an idea, some of them I don't.
Some of them don't. Got it.
I know that this is Olante Tombo, that's bedrock, and there's
Uh-huh.
there's a circular one there, and there's a structure to the right of it, which is the same thing when you go back here at Kenko.
Yeah.
There's a nub, and then the entrance is here to the right of it.
Uh-huh.
Same with Pasak, a nub here. It's on the left, the entrance is to the right. It's some sort of a marker.
Yeah, because it's just a random singular nub. It's just
Yeah,
sitting there by itself.
there doesn't seem to like, and this one, it's on an angled surface too, so it wasn't for hanging anything off of.
Yeah.
There was a roof over top of it, so it wasn't like a gnomon or something like that.
The earlier ones, when there's like literally stairs and stuff, it's obviously for a structure.
Yeah, some, like I said, it's a case by case basis,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
Yeah, and like this is the Coricancha, and this is one of those things that a lot of people don't know down there. On the top of the wall, you can see all these little bumps.
Uh-huh. Yeah. No, I've never seen that before.
Okay, so this is the top of the wall at the Coricancha. You have all these
Yeah.
little circular bumps, and then they turn into this little dot dash thing here at the end.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
it's a repeating pattern. And what a lot of people don't know is that this was in between two courses of stone. When they did renovations and there was an earthquake, they removed the stone, and these were in between, so they were hidden at the Coricancha. So here I got
What?
yeah, I found another photo of it.
I can
You
see
can
it good from
see,
there.
see where the wall's broken off here.
Yep.
That's I think the Spanish uh, took apart that, or it was broken in one of the earthquakes. And when they redid the wall, there's these little cuts. I'm not sure if you can see them in this photo very well. You can see these little lines in the
Mm-hmm.
stone here.
Mm-hmm.
On the other end of this wall, to the left of it,
Yeah.
those cuts are really deep, and they've been chiseling out the material there. So I'm not sure if somebody found this in the wall and decided to remove it, or if they were just polishing it off to make a new level for the roof because it was a different level than the rest of the structure.
It's weird though that it's a repeating pattern.
Yeah, well, you get to the end. It was hard to see it in this photo. I think I might have a better one. Just a second. Oh, right here. See here.
Oh yeah.
See down here that they've been removing material down here, reworking the top of the stone
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
way down, and then all of a sudden these things start. And these are all little circular dots until you get down to about here. And then you get this repeating this pattern.
That's when it starts looking like Braille or something.
Well, you've got like there's this thing, and then there's like a line and a dot and a line, and then two dots and a line, and then a line and two sets of two dots and a line, and then two lines. Well, I'm assuming there's going to be two lines,
Ah,
two more sets of dots, and then
right,
two
but it's
lines.
broken off. Yeah.
It's broken off, yeah. So it's some sort of a graduating pattern. And the neat thing about that is the wall on the opposite side of this wall here. That's the opposite wall to that one, the back side of the structure. And if you look down here, you see dot, 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 two dots, dot, like it was the same,
Uh-huh.
like
Uh-huh.
it's the same kind of a pattern. So I think this was some sort of a code, like uh, this could have been read if we had the rest of what was written on the top of the wall. And it was one of those esoteric things where only a few people knew about it. Like you knew about it, the priests knew about it, maybe the higher ups, but to the rest of people, they just look like bumps on stones.
Yeah, and then what the message would be anyone's guess based on like cultural context and stuff.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's very simple things. Like where is it here? Just a second. Out here, this is the walkway to the altar at the Coricancha where we saw the big pintle square nubs there.
Uh-huh.
Um, what you'll see in this, just simple dots, right? They're very simple, but it's in a procession leading up to the altar, which would be right on the side here.
Uh-huh.
Um, where was I going with that? Okay, yeah. So if this is a procession, it's done by a couple people that would, you need a priest or the leader or whatever. They've come down and do that stuff. When you're looking at this wall, it's perfectly straight joints along here until you get to here. Then you've got these notches. Same with this one. It's perfectly straight until you get to here, and then there's another notch. I think that this was like I said, some sort of a ceremonial esoteric meaning to it, where someone would walk down here and then they do this, and then the next person came down and did this, and then
Yeah.
underneath it, there's another notch, and then another whole row of nubs. But they only seem to switch after these little weird notches here, right? So I
Yep.
think it worked in combination, kind of like Quipu, where you'd have the line you tie the knots on the line, and then you'd change direction, or you'd add another string to it, and then it would make another line. You know what I mean?
I do. And
I drew it here. See, there's the altar.
yeah. And so in some sort of ceremonial.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if it's a procession to the altar, I'm
Yes.
assuming they'd be doing things along the way, and there's a lot of this wall is missing. So I think it started off with one line, like one person would start the procession that was split into two, and then two people would be taking part, and then they get down to the end, and there might have been three people down here at the end.
Uh-huh.
It,
As
it,
they walk into like the quote unquote courtyard or whatever.
the, the altar where they had the sun disk is right here.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah, maybe certain time of year and stuff. Maybe based on. I wonder if that is like has a astronomical alignment, that spot.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought like they might be simple symbols. Like they're all pretty basic here. They're all squares, and then in this line you have a half circle, an oval, another circle.
No, yeah, I know it. Yeah, yeah. What I'm saying is like they do the ceremony in the direction of like some
Yeah, yeah,
astronomical alignment, possibly. I always like to
yeah.
ask that question.
Well, they had that big gold sun disk that they put in the altar there.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm not sure, what exactly they did with it, but it was probably something to do with some time of year and reflection or something.
Yeah.
Um, this is what I just was guesstimating one day, and I went, okay, well, this guy wears that thing, and that's that. This one's an egg, and that's the Viracocha egg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A round one. Like, I don't necessarily think it means that, but I was just trying to show people what it
But
could be.
yes, I get the idea. It's like showing what you showed earlier with the modern stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
And like I said, it's the only line that has any different shapes. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uh, like, I'm not, I think it could be something. Now here's Ollantaytambo, and one of the things at Ollantaytambo is that you have these entrances. There's one here, there's one here, and there's one around the back right here.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at these entrances, on the left side, the middle row, you have this pattern. Um,
On each
right
entrance?
here, on each. See this where I've drawn it out here. So you have
Yep.
this weird shape that goes across and over at an angle, and then over, and then there's these nubs on it.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the main entrance at Ollantaytambo. Now this is the next entrance, or at the top of Ollantaytambo, and then you look over here on the side, and you have the same over,
Mm-hmm.
down, over, up at an angle. It's in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then you go to the next entrance right here. This is the top part of Ollantaytambo, and there it is again. You have this over, down, over, up, and over.
Huh.
So, like everybody says that this is just random stones. Well,
Mm.
that's three pretty specific cut stone. Like the odds of doing that in three separate areas when all the stones are random is pretty out there. I think it was this is evidence that it was pre-designed, so they knew what they were doing before they did it. Which ties into the nubs too, because then why would you have these left in these certain spots? They're not on the bottom, they're not on the top, they're only on
Uh-huh.
the line.
I would agree with that assumption. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely following you.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
here's all
and you
three of
can
them
see it.
together.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
like I have no idea what it means.
No,
I
no,
think
no, no, no.
I think there is some sort of a connection. Like they're all different, yes, but that could be three different meanings. It could be three different like dedications to the room or whatever you're going into. Like it could be this guy, this one, one god, two god, three god, some sort of thing.
Yeah, it might not have anything to do with gods either. But
Well, yeah,
the point is
yeah,
that it's like it's definitely like an identifiable like feature in uh, more than one spot.
yeah.
Um,
Well, like when I say
it's
gods, I don't think it's actually gods. I'm just trying to give like an idea of what something.
No, I didn't think you did. I was just simply just trying to offer that
Yeah,
like
no,
it could be anything. Like
yeah, yeah. Literally anything.
gods is a likely is possible. It might
Yeah,
I'd throw it up there in the top in the top possibilities, but it to me it seems to be for sure uh, identifiable features that are not random. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. Just now, where's another photo?
Yeah, that's wild. I never had anybody. I had never had anybody show me that before. Not like that. Not with the lines drawn and stuff like that.
Yeah, you'll find that same sort of stuff inside, like in Cusco. You'll see this straight line up angle nubs on the. There's areas I didn't put everything in my computer to do this,
It's
but
okay.
there are areas in Cusco where the walls where you can go to the second row, and it's the same type of pattern that you'd see right there, like the same type of thing. And the weird thing about Ollantaytambo is like this wall here, this is on this side too, but it's opposite. It goes instead of going down and up and over, it goes up, over and down, and the nubs are reversed. There's two or three and then one, as opposed to one then two or three. So,
Hmm.
so it seems almost like, and you can see like the pairing here. You got two, 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 and then two, but they're in different positions. These two are close together and they're different shapes, and these two are far apart. These
Uh,
two are close together and these two are far apart. It's almost like a masculine feminine, like one side is one thing and one side's another, if that makes any
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, but it makes sense both. What's the word I'm looking for? Symbolically and like mechanically, possibly too.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see what else we find here. So that's pretty much it for like
Yeah.
Peru.
Is there any other ones you want to take a look at, or
Well, India would be cool to look at because
yeah,
that's where you
let's do that.
now it, in India. I found like celestial patterns, and this is from a paper, and the main part of this is an actual written paper, and it says, as even done today, depictions do not need to have been placed in their actual spatial relationships to each other. So this is crocs that they found cupules carved on a stone that looks like this constellation crops, and there's like an actual archaeoastronomy paper written about it. There's a
Huh.
couple more here. So here we have what is this?
Whoa.
This is Bridgewara Temple in India, and you look at
Whoa.
you see the nubs, right?
Yeah, it looks more like a language than anything else.
Well, now you notice here that most of the stones don't have them. They're only in
Yes.
certain
Yes.
spots. Well,
Yes.
right here is what I look at, and if we go to the next photo, that's Pisces.
Whoa. Yeah.
Now there's only what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 nubs here on this side of the wall. All of them fit Pisces. So
Hmm.
it's not a random, I'm picking and choosing which ones I want to add to this. No, those are the only ones there. This is Pisces. It's right beside an entrance, and it's more than likely like a time of year where they have a special ceremony or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But see, this is totally different than Peru. Like Peru, it looks more like a binary language, like you were saying, Morse code or Braille
Yes.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Over
Morse
here
code. Yeah.
in India, it seems to be patterns. Like so go to another one here. Which one's this? This is I can't even read the
It's
name.
it's
What's
kind
it
of a
say?
kind of a dick
The
move to put those there.
yeah,
Like people would trip on those, huh?
right. This is the Hall of 100 Pillars in Tamil Nadu.
Yeah.
So you see these things on the stairs, and you're like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
well, like what do you mean? Like there's the archaeological explanation is you're supposed to remove them. Well, they didn't remove them. And that's definitely a tripping hazard trying to walk up these stairs.
Yeah, it's the first thing I noticed. Like, what a dick move. Like, is
Yes.
that like a Monty Python thing or something?
Now my buddies told me to take a look at these and see what I could see, and the first thing that I saw was it's Gemini.
uh,
It's hard to see because it's not in the correct position, but you've got the three here, these three, that one, and the two heads. Excuse me. like one of the things that you got to remember that you've got some guy that's been told to carve this on these stones that
Sure.
he's got no mic no a telescope or nothing like that. He
He's
probably
got
has
no ruler.
he has no idea what they're saying. Do this on this stone. He's like looking up, thinking, "Oh, wow, okay, that looks pretty close." If he's not artistic, then it's not going to be exactly the same. But once again, all of the ones there fit this constellation.
That's better than I could do.
And then we have this one here, which is another temple. I don't know the name of this one. I didn't. I must not have wrote it on this photo.
No worries.
But you see them here again. There's only so
Correct.
many of them
Yeah.
on these
Looks like
stones.
the Big Dipper.
Yeah, well, uh,
Or there you go.
Sagittarius.
There
That's
you go.
Sagittarius. So that's three constellations in India. I found all three of those in about a week when I was looking because everybody's complaining that I don't look all over the world. And I said, well, okay, I'll go look at India. And then I found those. So to me, that's more than enough proof. Like the odds of that
You
happening
finding that,
randomly.
yeah, that quickly, in that many
Yeah,
different places. So
like
you,
they say test your hypothesis. My hypothesis was that it has some sort of a meaning or
yeah,
it's a way of conveying information. And there, bang, 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 I found three.
yeah. And it's also rules out the connection to Peru's nubs as well,
Oh,
because it's
yeah,
different.
it's different. It's the same but different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It's the
Now
same but different.
there are places in India where it looks like it could be something else, but it's not. And now here we have Delphi, and you have nubs with writing all around them. I don't know if you can see that on the stones.
Hmm.
You see the writing in the stone.
Mm-hmm.
It surrounds the nubs.
Hmm.
So there seems to be a connection there. See here? This is a
Mm-hmm.
better photo.
Mm-hmm.
Now they could have removed it, right? They carved all that stuff into the stone. They could have easily just chipped that off, but they
Yeah.
left it.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for this. Now this is what's this? Didima? Yeah, Didima Apollo Theater in I can't read that. Aid, Turkey.
This
Now
is fun
these
for me because some of this stuff I haven't seen. I've never seen this.
yeah. So like I say, I think it's a way of conveying information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here on the nubs themselves, you
Mm-hmm.
have symbols carved into
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of them with these symbols carved into them. They're all through this hallway and at the entrance. So
Yeah.
it's like when you walk into this temple, you walk down through this hallway, and these are all on the sides. And just out of curiosity, like they're everywhere. They're outside, inside.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Oh, wait a second here. I got a photo. I was curious one day, so I threw it into Google and I said translate, and it said width.
Hmm?
The other ones it wouldn't translate so well. So if Google says that says width, then I'm assuming the rest of them say something too. If I could get a better photo, then I could go through and find them all. Here,
Wow.
at least put them into Google Translate.
Interesting.
These are just random photos. I'm trying to see where you want to go with this now.
I don't know. I'm just interested in seeing this stuff that I haven't seen before. I mean, it's interesting to me that like just the idea of a nub, because this is something I was like promoting on my channel is like that. Like, yes, it's fun to like think that everything's aliens or everything's related to the. You can hit stop share if you want. Everything's related to the ancient lost civilization that Graham Hancock said, and
Hmm.
everything's so then here's a nub, so then everything's a nub.
Yeah.
And for a guy like you who understands the process of building very well and manufacturing things like that. It's like you're able to see these things and go and differentiate them, right? And go,
Yeah.
okay, no, this is what these things are different from these things, and these
Yeah.
things are different from those things. And I think that's super important. But when we were setting this up, you mentioned like possibly like ruffling some feathers, and you don't seem like a guy who like enjoys ruffling feathers just to piss people off or anything. But
No.
there's a uh, and I know that's not your intention,
No.
but there are people like who we get as humans, we get attached to our ideas and our beliefs, right? And do you
Yeah.
think that's kind of what happens sometimes? Is people have their own idea and they say this is definitely a nub, and because it fits, what they're thinking. I see that with Atlantis all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think there's like a confirmation bias for sure, and
Yeah.
people, a lot of people in this space, like I don't want to be an arse, but a lot of people in this space just have a basic surface level understanding of everything.
Everything, yeah.
No, no,
Myself,
no,
me.
no, nobody actually finds something that they're really passionate about and just does a deep dive into that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a lot of people that are, well, this looks like that. Well, yeah, well, a lot of things look like things.
A lot of things look like things. I mean,
Well,
it's so simple but it's so true.
it's like a donut. Like if everything that's round with a hole in it's a donut. Well, no, because there's tires, there's nuts, there's
Right,
washers,
right.
uh, even stuff that looks like a donut, like a bagel or a Cheerio. They're still not
Mm-hmm.
donuts.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get away from the everything that looks the same is the same.
Mm-hmm.
And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have like an ulterior motive where
Yeah.
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but the geopolymer and natron, they want to use these nubs as, oh, well, this is evidence that these are geopolymer.
Mm-hmm.
They're also found all over the world. Yeah, but they're different. They're they people that do Atlantis want every single bump on every single stone to be a nub
Yes.
because then they have a connection. But when you start looking at them like you said, and you start picking it apart, there are some like, but it's not unreasonable for different cultures to say this is a symbol of the sun. It's a circular symbol. We see that everywhere. You see it in Egypt; they have a circle. It's a sun. See it in Peru. It's just simple symbols for sure could be worldwide. A lot of it is probably related, but I think it was related before the Younger Dryas anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like it like that's one of the things I have with the whole Atlantis thing. Like I get mad at the archaeologists for saying that the flood was just a myth.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at there were people living around Beringia at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So if those people, and there was people in the Americas like 40,000 years ago. So if people were coming across there back and forth, and then the Younger Dryas happened and it completely flooded, well, literally half the world disappeared for these people, depending on which side you're on.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we could get there, but now we can't get there. I can't even see it anymore. It's gone. It's
Yeah.
underwater. But it's not underwater. It's there. And the people on that side are saying it about the other side. So you can see where you can get these like there is a connection, but I don't think it's what everybody thinks it is.
Yeah. And not everything's connected.
And yeah, not everything's connected. Like like symbols, like you see I showed you that thing of symbols. They're found all over the world, but they're also up to 36, 40,000 years old. So that's all pre Younger Dryas.
Mm-hmm.
Like the stuff that they're finding in like Turkey now, like Karen Tepe and these older Tepe sites, they just keep getting older and older and older, and it's all in the same sort of area, like from Turkey up the coast to Russia. You're passing Japan, which has the same stuff. Russia has the same stuff. Like even with the nubs, you'll see them in Turkey. You see them in. I showed you Java. Then you see them in the Caucasus Mountains. That's on the edge of Russia, coming
Yeah, that
around. So
was a new one for me too. Both of those were.
yeah. So if those people were like, I think there's a problem with dating. Probably a lot of this stuff might be a lot older than people think it is.
I definitely think that's true. Yeah,
And
there's no way
like,
to really know.
yeah, but as the dates get pushed back, like if that modern human 400,000 years older than we thought, recent things. So a lot of those assumptions were made that, well, no, this is as far back as they went, so it had to be something else. Well, that works with stuff that's only 20,000 years old too. Like if these people were living here, and we know who they are, and they built this stuff, um, why couldn't they get around? You know what I mean? Like if it's the same, like dolmens in the United States or in Canada, it-
Yes,
they're
I'm glad you
they're
brought
all
that up.
they're all glacier erratics, but we know
Hmm.
they're not now. We know that the reason that they were glacier erratics is because there was supposedly the ice sheet was covering that part of the area, and there wasn't people there. But we know that there's people there now. We know that people have been in the Americas for 40,000 years. So why aren't they dolmens? Like
Yeah, I wanted to ask you. Yeah, because I almost started rapping, but I meant to ask you about Nova Scotia. I
yeah,
mentioned it at the beginning.
well, here,
And I'm timestamp Nova Scotia Dolmen. Um, I grew up in Nova Scotia. Didn't get to see much. That's why I really. It's like I'm really looking forward to. I haven't been home in 13 years, and I really look forward to going home and exploring the perimeter of the Halifax Regional Municipality, the HRM, Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, that whole area, because around that area, because I never got to see any of it.
yeah.
And you did you you went to Nova Scotia to see at the beginning you used the word supposed dolmens in Nova Scotia. How many are we talking about, and why'd you choose the word supposed? And was it fun? You were with Michael Collins, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, I say supposed because I don't like to make definitive like statements about stuff like that.
sure.
They certainly look like dolmens. I wish I had a photo with me here.
I'm gonna pull some up if I can, but continue.
Uh, like I was very skeptical when we went because the photos that I saw online just looked like big rocks in the woods, basically. But and the main reason Mike wanted to go is because there was supposed to be a megalithic wall there,
Huh?
but it looked more like something that you'd see at like the Montana
Can you see
megalith.
this? Can you
Yeah,
see this? Is this what
yeah.
you're talking about?
th- Uh, yeah, I think that's part of this bottom one here, uh, in the middle below it,
This one?
right behind me. Yeah, that was the wall that Mike wanted to go look at.
This one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And what did you guys went and saw this?
yeah. It's pretty much the same thing as you see in like with the Sage Wall. It 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 looks like it could be, but when you look around the area, uh,
You
a
see
lot of
similar stuff.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that. But in the middle of this, there was a stone that looked like it had uh, a lip carved across the whole top of it,
Uh-huh.
down in the center of this opening here. This was a squared off opening,
Mm-hmm.
like a
Mm-hmm.
room, but on the other
Mm-hmm.
side of it was a cliff of stone.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
can see how it's kind of broken the same way as it is in Montana. You get like some long verticals and then some horizontals right
It
in the middle.
it definitely has the similarities, and I can see why somebody saw
Hmm.
the Mont Sage Wall and then told Michael about this.
No, this was way before that.
It was
But,
before that?
I don't know if Mike was doing the Sage Wall then.
I don't know.
He
I don't know.
might have been. But yeah, like I knew about that. He wanted to go there, and I sent him a message asking if I could go,
Hmm.
and if he had a went to where he was supposed to go, he would have been in the middle of nowhere because that wasn't where it actually was. I,
Okay.
I messaged a friend of mine who knew where it was, and he gave us the GPS locations, and it was like 600 miles from where he was going to go.
Whoa.
Like it's they're called the Big Hill megaliths. They're dolmens, but it's not in Big Hill, Nova Scotia.
Those
Like
ones we were just looking at are called the Big Hill megaliths, but they're not in
Big,
Big Hill, Nova
Big Hill.
Scotia.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're on a big hill. They're not in. You know what I mean?
Man,
But yeah,
that's hilarious.
like one of the dolmens that were there, I think I counted probably 20 or 30 different
Uh-huh.
huge rocks that looked like they were set somewhere at one point. But I've got a photo on my Twitter of the main one there, and it's 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 obviously looks like it was placed there. It's on a flat platform that sticks up from the ground. Like
Hmm.
if you had a bedrock outcropping that was rounded, somebody flattened the top of it and set this on top of three stones. And one of those three stones is a perfect square block
Hmm.
in the middle
Hmm.
of the woods.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's my, well, I'll call it a supposition because it's like an uncertain belief, but that the Maritimes, uh, Northeast, North America,
mhm.
um, the Atlantic coast has a lot of hidden secrets, even though those not probably likely were not megalithic wall like that or dolmen or whatever there that I was just looking at. If this is under the assumption that the like there's not an impact but an airburst hypothesis,
Yeah,
because the evidence points to the airburst happening, over the ice sheet and then spreading out east,
yeah,
and they even find evidence of it in Europe and whatever. Um, it's my supposition that that area in Nova Scotia where I grew up and where you live has a shitload of stuff possibly buried, or we're never going to find it. But like there was,
oh,
if there was a quote unquote Atlantis or a civilization that existed before our current civilization, like an iteration of
yeah.
civilization, it would they would have been utilizing that area of the globe as well. There's just not there would be nothing left.
Yeah, I agree with you a lot on that. I think the east coast of Canada,
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
somewhere from Newfoundland down into the States, they're going to find something huge here.
I think so too. Yeah.
It, it's inevitable. I think
Hmm.
there's a lot to suggest that it wasn't exactly the way they say it was back then in the Ice Age. It
Correct.
could have been a lot clearer in this area. Like in around
Correct.
Oak Island, there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. Uh, Down in the States, you see a lot of like Viking runestones and different
Yeah.
things. A lot of them they say are fake, but a lot of them really look real.
Have you got to look at this new runestone, Ontario runestone? Have you
Which
heard of
one?
this?
Oh, I've seen pretty much everything in Canada at one
I'm gonna
point.
make a this is fairly new timestamp. We're timestamping a lot for this, but it's okay. I think it's gonna be a good
Okay.
episode. Um, Ontario runestone. That way, I'll just cut out like some of the little stuff like this so that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
flows better. But it'll be good. So this is a New York
We're making
Times
sense.
article, huh?
I said, am I making some sense? Like, is it?
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good episode. I'm
It's
excited
not
about it.
unusable footage anyway.
No, no, I think it's going to
Okay.
be I think it's going to be a good episode.
Okay.
Um, so this is the Ontario rune stone. It
Yeah,
says the New York Times article, a rune stone that may be North America's oldest, turns up in a Canada forest. I'm going to
yeah.
click on it. New York Times, probably going to demonetize me. But on private property near the town of Wawa, Northern Ontario, after the collapse of two trees exposed it to the elements. But I only bring this up because it just kind of goes along with what we were saying is ancient Atlantic, transatlantic crossings were probably pretty frequent with in a global a seafaring civilization
Oh,
pre
absolutely.
Ice Age. So,
Oh,
and I
it
think
would
we're
have
going to
just been
find
a
evidence of that.
hop. It
Yeah.
would have just been a hop around there. Like if Vikings, like I tell people all the time with the Newfoundland Vikings, the settlement,
Yes. Yeah. Right.
it was it was a settlement. It didn't just pop up overnight. How many times do you have to go someplace before you decide to build a place to live?
Mm-hmm.
Like if it
Yeah.
wasn't just a
Right.
fluke that we ended up there or that they ended up there, that they
Yeah.
planned on being there for a long
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And that stone, the funny part about that is that's almost the same as Scott Wolter's story, isn't it? About the Kensington rune stone. Tree
Yeah.
blew over, they found it underneath the tree, and
Yeah. And so there's not a whole lot of like besides the sensationalism, like data on this stone yet.
Mhm,
And I I sent it to Scott immediately as soon as I saw it. And then
yeah,
Scott was like, "Hey, get in line," or so, Scott, but he was like,
yeah,
"Hey, get in line. There's like 50 other people that just sent me this," or something along
yeah,
those lines. And so
yeah.
he was working on something else right now, but his plan is to investigate that. But that's very interesting. And I think you're right. I think they're going to find something big in Nova Scotia, connected in that area, connected to
Mhm.
um, uh, that'll put a big puzzle piece into place for all these shit we like talking about and thinking
Yeah.
about.
I think they're gonna find something at the boneyard too, myself.
Yeah.
In Alaska?
Yeah, likely. I I have this is just me with my tinfoil, but
Yeah.
I have a feeling they already have.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
you see the bone with the carving on it?
yes, correct.
Yeah.
And I think there might be a little bit of controlled exposure of what they found there. They're like, okay, Joe
Well, yeah.
Rogan here. They tell Joe exactly what they're like. This is what it is, okay. But and Joe's like, and he's like, but we're gonna do it really slow because otherwise the people are gonna lose their shit. But I think there's more there than people ever like. I think
Well,
the
he's
answer
got
is there.
he's hinted at it a bit, like with
Yeah.
the dire wolves. He said,
Yes.
we're fine. They're saying they're not supposed to be there, but we're finding them there."
Correct.
Like he's getting people ready for, well, guess what else? Well, like if dire wolves were there and that carving was there, I'm pretty sure, yeah, like you said, that I wouldn't put it past me that he's found quite a few things, probably.
It's soft disclosure, and I guarantee there's no way that the U.S. government isn't all up in his business in there. There's just no way. Like, and I mean, I don't mean like the senator or whatever. Like, I mean intelligence
One here,
agencies.
U.S. stuff is funny. Mahone Bay.
Uh huh.
You know Mahone Bay.
I know Mahone Bay.
Yeah.
I'll pull
Do
it
you,
up while you're talking.
the story I heard is it's the only place on the eastern Canadian shore that the U.S. Coast Guard and Canada did a joint project to map the bottom, the undersea area of Mahone Bay.
Interesting.
Yeah, well,
Timestamp. So,
what's
so,
in?
so I'm gonna get. I just pause for a second. I'm gonna get a
Yeah,
good. I'm gonna get a good picture of this while we're talking about this. Um, 209. I'm actually gonna get it on the Google map instead. Because a lot of Americans watching this won't know what Mahone Bay is unless we just show it the obvious Mahone Bay on the
yeah,
map. You know what I'm saying? It's
yeah.
it's the Americans do not Americans know nothing about Canada or anywhere like in It's not like
A lot of them should know about Nova Scotia because a lot of them live in Chester and Mahone
they
Bay.
don't. They don't know. They don't know anything.
Hmm. Yeah, well, was it one of the presidents? I think it was a president from the United States. One or two of them were interested in Oak Island.
Yeah, a couple of them for sure.
Yeah, Hitler apparently too.
So this is there we go. So there. I just want to get a good, and I'm gonna get another timestamp next to that. So 150. So hold on. What time is it? 2:10, 2:09, 2:11. 2:11. So, yeah, you were mentioning that a joint operation to search the bottom of Mahone Bay.
The story I heard was it's the only place on the Atlantic coast, like in Canadian waters, where the U.S. military and the Canadians work together to do a sweeping sonar mapping of the bottom of Mahone Bay. Not
And
sure what, like none of this stuff, just there, just in Mahone Bay. None of the other stuff.
that's so wild.
All around Oak Island and in there. Oak Island's in Mahone Bay, if anybody doesn't know that.
It's because I think something happened here, and it's related to Oak Island, but Oak Island is related to a bigger piece of the
Yes.
whole puzzle. Like
Well,
it's related to it's just a small piece of the whole thing.
yeah.
And we're gonna find a huge answer to these questions in this area of the country. For those of you not familiar with the geography, like northeastern uh, United States, or I'm sorry, Canada, and it makes sense if there's an air burst. The evidence we're finding of the air burst holds up, and that we keep finding evidence that we show that it spread going eastward. And have you been to the Bloody Creek crater? Did you guys go check that out?
No.
Have you heard of it? It's the
Yeah.
crater that supposedly attribute to that.
Yeah.
But
Well, Mahone Bay is all full of the debris from the ice sheet. A lot of the islands there, they're glacier moraine islands. Like even Oak Island's a glacier moraine island, which is just a pile of debris, which is one of the reasons why they can't dig down underneath the Oak Island, because it's all just it's a pile of rubble.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say, but didn't get out right. Is like
So everything's been pushed through New Brunswick, across Nova Scotia into there.
Yeah, the logistics of trying to, like, I don't know, get search under the water here, do archaeology here is
It's
really,
impossible.
it's impossible. Yeah.
The biggest problem with around the Atlantic's provinces is the amount of vegetation and like life on the bottom of the ocean. It's not like the Caribbean where you'll have some coral and some sand. Here it's just 16 feet of seaweed and crap at the bottom. You can't see anything on sonar, really. It would have to be huge.
Yeah, it's a matter of waiting on technology, and that's pretty much it. Unless like somebody flips some switch over on Oak Island, and then like a Autobot like transformer comes out of the ocean or something.
Yeah. Oak Island's only one of the spot. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on around Oak Island too. There's dolmens around that area. There's people that live on the islands around Chester have reported weird stuff like weird carved stones,
Mm-hmm.
different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. You have
Mm-hmm.
that old boat stone that's been found
Yeah.
down around that area or in the States, but it's off the end of Nova Scotia, Blanchard stone, all kinds of weird stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Plus
How about
The Templars.
yeah, there was yeah, well, yeah, you get Scott Walter going all day about this stuff. I still have the Hooked X book over there. I haven't read it yet, but I got it from him at Cosmic Summit and had him sign it.
Yeah,
So before we wrap up, I just wanted to ask about New Brunswick quickly.
certainly.
Anything interesting in New Brunswick as far as like just obscure archaeological sites and stuff?
Uh,
Not that we have to pull up or dig into, but like anything going on there?
Nah, not a whole lot, like, uh, nothing ancient, really.
Yeah.
But there's petroglyphs and stuff in some of the parks,
Hmm.
but it's really hard to date them. Half of them are in rivers, so you
Hmm.
can only see them certain times.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
there's no real like. There's a couple things around the area I'm in that people say are like dolmens, but they don't really look it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'll we'll tell you a story though, real quick. I was at one of the thrift stores here in town,
Hmm.
and where there are two of these sites that look like dolmens,
Hmm.
I found a folder in the thrift store, and I opened up the folder. In the back of it, there was about a stack of maps about this thick,
Hmm.
and in between those two uh, things that they think are dolmens, someone has marked an X on this map and circled it and said blah blah something about this is where this is or something, and
Hmm.
I'm thinking,
Hmm.
so that's going to be my next adventure. I'm going to go see what the hell's there.
That's fun. That sounds like that sounds like fun. Uh, I like a good adventure, my man. And I appreciate you sharing your insight on the nubs with us today here in the multiverse. I like I said, I just see that people just drawing connections on them everywhere, and so I really appreciate seeing your more of a bird's eye view. And let me give you
Yeah.
sort of an example, just that I'm experiencing in my own life, is that I played a lot of basketball growing up in Nova Scotia, and
Hmm.
um, I understood how it worked, like from my position. Um, but then now I'm coaching, and now like I'm like it's like it opened up like the it's all I think about now, like all the different things I can do and the process. And now I'm thinking about the process, like how do I prepare these kids to
Yeah.
get to this certain place? And I kind of view like somebody with your experience and your background as like somebody who can look at the nubs in a similar, like all of a sudden you're able to look at it from more of a bird's eye view, the way a coach would look at it. I look at a group of kids, right? Do you get the analogy I'm making?
Yeah, I totally do. Yeah, you're pretty much right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different perspective on things once
Yeah,
you have.
a higher level of perspective. It's like you
Yeah,
can still watch a basketball game and enjoy watching it, and just be watching what's happening with the ball, or you can be seeing what's happening off the ball with the cuts and the screens and the
yeah,
all this stuff. Same thing. It's like you could go, okay, there's a nub there's that thing we see everywhere, or you could be like, that's a nub that looks like this,
yeah,
and that's a nub that might most likely is one of these nubs which we see over here, and
yeah.
it's good to know. And I I say this all the time on my show. This is for me, so you guys, whoever's watching, can do whatever they want. But I want everything to be connected because I want Graham Hancock to be right because it's fun. But I always check myself. And that's why I like to bring people like Crispin on the show. And so thank you so much, man, for joining the show.
No problem.
And I do hope to visit the area someday. And maybe you can come down and meet up with me
Yeah,
in Nova
love it.
Scotia if you want. I'll probably be with my wife, do a little camping and check out some I don't know, petroglyphs and stuff in Nova Scotia.
That'd be awesome.
All right, man. Thank you so much for joining the show.
No problem, buddy. You have a good one.
And where can everyone find you, by the way?
Find me on X, I guess, at TwistDead1. I don't. It came up here as a
There it
question
is.
mark,
Yeah, it's in your.
exclamation mark.
It's
It's
what's a
supposed to be a
one, not
one.
next. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stone-Nub Language is the username.
The
I'm on
Stone-Nub.
everything.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Stone-Nub Language at TwistDead1.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
on, are you on Facebook or anything like that?
I'm kicked off
Just
Facebook.
X.
No, well, I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram and Truth, so
Okay.
everywhere I can get on. But I don't post anything there. I just got a place
Okay.
name. So
We'll list whatever you want, like related to the nub stuff, in the description, and I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. It was a long time coming.
Yes,
and
awesome.
so I'm glad we finally got it done.
Okay.
Subscribe to Mike and Dave's Multiverse on YouTube, Spotify, and Rumble today.